So you want to come to Mexico and you want to actually RV across the border, but you're probably hesitant just like I was. We started RVing in California, went all the way up to Canada, following the good weather, made it all the way down to Arizona, and had the choice to either go east to Texas or carry on south to Mexico. I was even literally ready to hop on a plane to just go check it out because of all these horror stories people were saying about going to Mexico. That was until I found the Keep Your Daydream videos. Keep Your Daydream were awesome. I ended up writing to Mark. He got back to me right away. And next thing you know it, I was on a 1-month journey of planning my trip down to Mexico. So thank you, Keep Your Daydream, because you guys are absolutely awesome. But that was just the very beginning. Now we wanted to go to Mexico. But where did we want to go? How long did we want to go for? What roads in Mexico were capable of taking my big 42-foot rig, plus my truck totaling 67 feet, down to Mexico? So first we decided, where was it that we wanted to go? For us, we wanted to go all over. We'd been to Mexico before, just like many of you, so we wanted to try to go all the way down the Pacific coast, cut across over to the Yucatan, and get over to the east side. So in this video, I'm gonna get a little bit more serious and talk about what you need to cross the border and RV into Mexico. And what's super cool for you is that I've done hours and hours of research and paperwork trying to put it all together, and it's all going to be in this video for you. So stay tuned as I teach you step by step what you need and hopefully guide you to get you down here with us in Mexico. But remember, I am not a professional at this, and everything I have to say and ideas that I come up with, I hope will help you, but they aren't always the best way. But I'm down here in Mexico, and you know, the people that we've met down here, they've been coming here for 10, 15 years traveling in an RV. And it seems like what I know and the knowledge they know are kind of together. So hopefully the information I have for you will make it a lot easier for you to come down to Mexico too. First thing I want to talk about is research. The minute I knew that I wanted to go to Mexico with my family, I was all over the internet, and the first thing that I found was the YouTube Keep Your Daydream. They had about 16 different videos on how to get down to Mexico. Now, one thing that they did do differently was they went in a caravan, and that had me thinking a lot. Do I really want to do a caravan, or can I just go alone? That took me to the next thing, where I hopped onto Facebook. And there were 2 different pages that I decided to become friends with of a group. I decided to like On the Road in Mexico, which On the Road in Mexico also has an amazing website all about Mexico. And it's ontheroadin.com. I learned things in there like bringing a fake wallet. Yes, bringing a fake wallet in Mexico, which we'll go into more details about later. The second group that I decided to like on Facebook was RV'ing in Mexico. And let me tell you, these people are down here in Mexico, and they were writing me back and forth seconds later, answering all the questions that I had. Can I cross alone? Do I have to take a caravan? I'm a big rig. Are rigs as big as me? Do I want my rig to not be so big? I mean, these were all silly questions that I had, but they were really valuable questions. And now that I'm down here, a lot of questions have been answered. The next thing that I recommend is a really great book, and it's called Mexican Camping. It is by Mike and Terri Church. Wow, so much information. They break up Mexico into sections, telling you what RV parks to stay at, their different notes about them, what you should know, how to get there. If you can invest in getting this book and trying to plan your route beforehand, it will help you a lot. All right, so it's quite simple, because between YouTube with Keep Your Daydream the Mike and Terri church book, Mexican Camping, and the 2 Facebook groups, I was getting enough information to plan our trip. So now, the next part, how long did we want to go for? Where did we want to stay? And the big questions, where are we going to enter? All right, we were in Arizona, so we kind of had an option. Did we want to enter in Texas? Did we want to enter, closer to California? What part in Arizona did we want to enter? Well, a lot of people mentioned that Nogales was a really great entry point. Probably one of the best, because first of all, it is quieter. Second of all, I'm a big rig, and it seems like a lot of big rigs passed through there and didn't have any problems. We had read about and heard that there were problems with people entering in places like Laredo, Texas, and areas in Texas, but in Nogales, we'd had absolutely no trouble at all. So there you have it. We're gonna enter through Nogales. How long are we gonna go for? Well, for us, 6 months just didn't seem like enough. And we love Mexico so much. So we decided to apply for a Residente Temporal. And what that means is that we want to be able to stay up to a year. So that meant we had to do some work. But for most of you, if you are Canadian or American, you get to actually come to Mexico for 6 months with your passport. You can actually drive within the Sonora state without having to register your car. It does save you about $27 and a little bit of time when you cross the border, but not much more than that. But Mexico does allow you to cross over and feel free to drive within that state. If you decide to pass Sonora and go further south into Sinaloa or where we are in Nayarit, then you definitely have to register your truck and your trailer. And if you want to know more about how you can stay more than 180 days, stay tuned for our next video where I'm going to teach you how to go to the Mexican Embassy in the United States, what forms you need to fill out, and the process there. Because there is a bit of a process. It's not terribly long, but it is a little bit of a process in the United States that you need to do. And then once you get into Mexico, you have 30 days to finish the process. So stay tuned for that in my next video. So where do you want to go? Do you want to RV Baja? Do you want to go to Puerto Penasco, which is quite close to Arizona? It's the closest piece of ocean next to the States in the south there. Do you want to go to San Carolos? It's only about a 5.5 hour drive from the border. Or do you want to drive along the Pacific like we did, getting all the way down to somewhere such as Lo de Marcos, which is just north of Puerto Vallarta? Next is the preparation work. This can take a lot of time. This is where I was contacting people on Facebook all the time. I was writing to Mark with Keep Your DayDream. I'm reading all these books, and I'm literally putting together 2 things. The first thing I made, and it can be for everybody who wants it, I made a checklist. What you need before you cross the border, what you need once you get to the border, and then even after, when you come back to the States. The second important document that I had is just the summary of what to expect when you cross the border. How many tolls? What's the cost? How many miles? Where did we sleep? So this is a big thing. And this video is mainly about crossing the border in Arizona at Nogales and coming all the way down to Puerto Vallarta. So if this is something that you're interested in, I would highly recommend watching this video. So let's talk about the checklist and what you're going to need before you actually cross the border into Mexico. The first thing, make those reservations with the RV parks. The second, make copies of the documents you need at the border. You need at least, I wanted to be safe with 4 copies. If not, at the border, they have a copy place there where you can pay 50 cents per page to get a copy done. But I didn't want to do that because at that border, you really don't want to be there for very long if you have to. Easy, you will be there for at least an hour, and that's quick. So I didn't want to waste any extra time on anything that I could have done beforehand. The other thing I needed to get done was I needed to get my dog vaccinated for rabies and distemper. So what we ended up doing was just doing that down at the border. The veterinarians there have the proper paperwork needed to cross the border without any problems. So find yourself a veterinarian. You have to do this 10 days prior to crossing. If you want to do any of the online services at the border, you can. In high season, it might be a good idea. But if you're crossing kind of in a lower time, we were able to do everything at the border. And I'll talk about those details of what they are later. You need to call your bank. You need to call your credit card company, and you need to call your cell phone. You need to tell your banks that you're going to be using a credit card possibly down in Mexico, and your debit cards as well if you ever need to go to an ATM and actually get pesos. The cell phone, same thing. For instance, T-Mobile allows you to have access up into Canada and into Mexico for free. The next thing that I have down is to buy a fake wallet. I know, it sounds absolutely crazy, right? But if you can have a fake wallet in your glove compartment box, and if for any crazy reason you get pulled over and the police officer wants to just fine you or charge you some money, you can pull out that fake wallet, show them that you have just 200 pesos in there, for instance, which is equivalent to about $10, and tell them that's all you have. Then you don't feel so bad giving him $10. He's going to want a lot more. And if that's the case, then you give him this document that I also was able to get from some friends. I heard about this Mexican document that people talked about, and if you get pulled over, they kept saying, just give this to the police. I have a link here for you as well of this document. I carry it in my truck with us everywhere we go. So far, knock on wood, we haven't been pulled over. But it just kind of puts the police officer in a situation where he's got to give specific details to the crime that you committed. I've heard that police will pull people over for funny things. I've read about it on the internet, and I just wanted to be safe. So I have this form for you, and please print it, save it, have a spare copy as well, and keep it with you just in case. It may change the way the situation goes with the police officer. The other thing I have down on the checklist is to make sure that you get pesos. So we decided to stay at Patagonia State Park, and that's where our journey actually begins. Staying at Patagonia was about a 15-minute trip to Nogales, US. Now there's also Nogales, Mexico. But Nogales, US, we were able to go over there, kind of see where the trucks go to cross the border. One of the biggest things you need to know is that there's an auto entry at the Nogales border, and there's actually a truck entry. We, being so big because you're an RV, we decided to go ahead and go the truck entry route, and that's at mile marker number 4. And so we decided to go drive over there and just see where were we going to be going. There we also saw the gas station, so we loaded up on gas. We were able to get pesos right across the street from the gas station and knock out all these little things that we had to do before we crossed the border. So we were well prepared to leave at 5:30 the next day. So we decided to cross the border at 6 o'clock because that's actually when it opens. All right, I also mentioned don't forget that credit card on your checklist. You need to also put, if you're going to be staying in Mexico for a longer period of time, maybe it's a good idea to put your current auto and trailer insurance on hold for the 6 months. Because when you purchase your Mexican insurance for your car and trailer, you're going to make an upfront payment. So maybe you don't need to have both insurance companies insuring you. If you do not have title and you actually have a loan with the bank for your trailer or your truck, you do also need to contact these companies just to let them know that you are taking your trailer or your truck down into Mexico. They want to have approval before you go. And some fun stuff. Make sure you start working on that Duolingo app. It's free. Start practicing your Spanish. It's so much fun. Even our kids do it. But I tell you, if you even know a little bit of Spanish, it does help a lot when you're down in Mexico. The other app I highly recommend is iOverlander. I'm sure everybody is aware of Allstays. You do have to pay for that app, but I still love the satellite on that app. There have been many times when I've actually had to look at a satellite version to see which road. It's helped a lot to be able to have a satellite view of how much further a distance is. Where exactly are we going to be turning on a certain road? So for Allstays, I still have the app. It is a one-time fee, but I still use it. But iOverlander is free, and it tells you of all the different gas stations and RV parks around the area and more. So I highly recommend iOverlander for Mexico. Next, I would actually like to talk about the documents that you need to have and have copies of when you actually get to the border. There are stops along the way where you're going to need to present your different documentation. These documents are passports and copies. If you have a Mexican visa, and copies. You're also going to need copies of your Mexican trailer insurance and truck insurance if you're towing. An insurance company that we decided to go through was called ABA, A-B-A, and Chubb, C-H-U-B-B. It's a Mexican insurance company here. It got very high ratings, and we went ahead and went with their premium plus package because we didn't want to really have to worry about anything in Mexico. You're also going to need your driver's license copied, and when you copy your driver's license, they also prefer to have it in color. So on the same piece of paper we copied are colored and black and white copies. All right, so now you're all prepared, right? You have all your documents needed. This is what's gonna happen. You're gonna cross the border. And if you're at 6 o'clock in the morning, nobody's there. You're gonna have a green light. You just go through. You're gonna go through a few toll booths. And again, one green light, go on through. And if it's not green, or if there's two greens, try to stay in the one that always says autobús, buses, because you're big like a bus, and then you don't have to worry about a height restriction. And then we got up to the first section where there's these men that weren't really dressed in any type of uniform. You could actually see to the left the American custom check or something going on where men were in uniforms. But in Mexico, they were just men wearing normal clothes. And this is customs and declarations. They just wanted to know, quite frankly, how much money we were bringing into Mexico. So, but further down we went, and we came to the trailer inspection. The trailer inspection, the people there were just a little bit less talkative, let's just say. But I was able to speak a little bit of Spanish. He wanted to see inside my trailer, and I think as soon as he saw that it was tidy and all packed away, slides were in, and he couldn't really access my fridge or anything, he just let me go, no problem. From there, though, your next stop is going to be a big one. Kilometer 21. Kilometer 21. Don't miss kilometer 21 like we did. And then we had to turn around, all 67 feet of us. Reset your mile marker because it's really important. Right now, there is so much construction in Nogales, Mexico. And you have to stop by a very important place called kilometer 21. It doesn't look anything official. And the problem is, you can easily miss it. The road entrance to kilometer 21 is about 100 feet before the building. And with there being road construction, you have to catch it before you approach the building. So when you pull in though, you hang to the left and just park your rig somewhere that you can fit. And you're gonna walk up to some double entry doors. They kind of look mirror-like. In there, that's where you're going to get your FMM. And that's the same document that you get when you fly into Mexico. And with your FMM, you're also going to get your tourist card. So you're going to pay to basically come into Mexico for the 6 months that you're there. If you have a Mexican visa, then you do not have to pay. After you fill out your FMM using your passport and getting all the detailed information from your passport, the lady at the desk is going to ask you to just go out a different set of doors, carry on around to the left to the banjercito, which is like where you pay. You're going to pay for your tourist card there, and you're also going to have all the other documents that you need. Your truck registration, your trailer registration, everything on that checklist. And the thing is you never even know what forms exactly he's going to want. So it's better to have copies of everything and just hand it to him and let him take what he wants. And there you're going to also pay for your truck registration. Your trailer registration is called your TIP, T-I-P. And you're going to go ahead and pay there. You're going to give them a credit card, and they're going to go ahead and refund you the $400 when you bring your car back to the States. He's going to give you a sticker, and you're going to put the sticker on your windshield. One thing that we ran into was with the truck registration, he was able to actually see that we had a big dually. He did come back to us and say, oh, you know, your truck is a little big. And I'm like, yeah. I don't know what the concern was about because there are big buses and big rigs all over Mexico. But then he went ahead and spoke to his boss, came back and said, nope, you'll be fine to go. And this is where I think some of the people crossing the border run into some problems, because other entry points, it sounds like that they don't always let you in. But in Nogales, we got through no problem. One of the documents that the banjercito is going to want to have is a picture of the white sticker on your truck and on your trailer. That's where you get that VIN number. So you need to actually be sure you have that ahead of time, because it will save you a lot of time running back out to your car, taking a picture, trying to hook it up to a copy machine, and then trying to provide copies for him. On my checklist as well, I have a detailed short list of what to do when you stay past 180 days. But again, that's going to be in another video. So the entire process of stopping at kilometer 21, getting our FMM, and if you need a tourist card, and then going to the separate counter outside and paying for your tip for your truck and trailer registration, it literally took just over an hour, and we were quick. You can also purchase your Mexican car insurance at this location as well. But again, we decided to do that online, where we had some more time to really think it through and find the best coverage that suited us. As well, on the RV'ing.com has a link where you can find great quotes of really great companies that they recommend you use as well. So let's quickly talk about some toll booths. There are 18 total tolls that we ran through, or we drove through, when we came all the way down to Los de Marcos. Some of these roads are literally 10 minutes and they're going to cost you $15. And then other ones are a good hour and a half long and they're only going to cost you about $5. You can see a menu when you do pull up to the toll booth, and it will tell you the price per axle. Unfortunately though, they all are a little bit different in price, and I think it just varies on the length of the road. Something recent that's been happening at these toll booths, the farmers are trying to take back over their land. So when we pulled up, we saw 200 people surrounding the roads and coming up to our car. We were a little bit taken back, but what it is they just actually want a tip from you to be using their road in the middle of their farming area, and then you're gonna pull through the toll booths, but the toll operator's actually not gonna take your money. By the way, all tolls are pesos. You cannot pay with a credit card and you cannot pay with dollars. As well, something really great is that there's a service called the Green Angels, and this service company is there for any mechanical needs or any medical needs. So I went ahead and put the phone number here for you to see, and if you have any trouble, that's one of the beauties of going on the toll roads, is you pay for this service. Again, in my summary, you could see how much money you kind of need for the tolls and how many there are between place to place. Again, this will vary per how many axles you have. So as I continue to share with you all my secrets for crossing over the border into Mexico, one of the things I want to tell you is when you come down, most of us all take toll road highways. So moving on into the roads section of my summary, all of the roads that we took coming down were toll roads. Anything with a D behind it normally. 15D is a highway. If you see just 15, that's a free road. But when you do get down to Los de Marcos, the only time we actually went off of a toll road coming way down here was when we took Highway 200 and dropped west. Otherwise, we were always on toll roads. Another really great tip is about gas. Pemex is the only gas station all over Mexico, which makes it kind of easy. But there are tricks you need to know when you pull up to these gas stations. The first thing is you got to make sure as you pull up, look at the gauge on the actual gas station where it comes out. Make sure it's zeroed out, $0, so that they're not starting you off with a little bit higher of a transaction. The second thing is that you're not going to be pumping any gas. They're going to be pumping the gas for you. So it is nice to give them a 5 peso to 10 peso tip, especially if they're going to wash your windshield for you or something else. One thing I'd like to mention too is hold on tight. There are some serious tour buses, and they are going all the way from Las Vegas down to Puerto Vallarta. These buses are flying and they will pass you. Even if you're 67 feet like we are and it is only a 2-lane road, they will pass you. Seems kind of like the buses own the road in Mexico. So we just went slow and stayed away from them. But what was nice is that anytime they were in front of us, they were kind of nice to follow because they knew where all the speed bumps were, the topes. And another great piece of advice, police drive around here with their lights on all the time. So don't think you're getting pulled over just because you see a police car behind you with their lights on. I'm sure not too much has changed, but when we crossed over the border, there were tons of construction. Tons. I mean, 1 minute you're on a brand new concreted road, and then you're literally crossing over the center barrier and you're getting onto an older road, and you kind of zigzag back and forth with cars literally on the other side of you going the opposite direction. There's topes, there's bumps. A lot of the times if you're going, you know, if the speed limit says 110 kilometers per hour, they're not going to put speed bumps in the middle of the road. I've only actually seen that one time, and we were luckily behind a truck, so we knew to slow down. But otherwise, it's really on the older roads when you run into a lot of these speed bumps. So I would keep an eye out when you get on those older roads. You know there's going to be a few of them. I'd also watch out for the no passing sign. Again, in either Mike and Terri Church's book or on the road in Mexico, they have road signs for you to study and learn. One of them are 2 cars side by side with a no passing zone. That means do not pass. Now there are, on occasion, you're passing a tractor. You got to pass a tractor. He's going slow. But otherwise, we did not pass because those cops will pull you over if you're passing, and there's a sign that says no passing. So we actually went from Patagonia State Park in Arizona through the Nogales border crossing, and we went all the way to San Carlos, Mexico. We ended up staying at Totonaka RV Park. It was beautiful. It was literally right across from the beach. It was the first time we saw the beach in I don't know how many months. So it was very exciting. Remember, whenever you start these trips though, a lot of the times you have internet connection. So it's best to always make sure before you leave, while you're at the park, that you have in your maps your destination or your GPS location that you're going to before you leave. In going from Nogales, Mexico down to San Carlos, you head towards Hermosillo. And this is a larger town. Get ready, you're gonna pull up to the stoplights and you're gonna have kids jumping on your windshield trying to clean your windshield and getting a little tip. So just be safe, be careful, go slow, and make your way over to Guaymas, which is where San Carlos, the town is, where Totonaka RV Park is. From there, we stayed 10 days at Totonaka RV Park. We absolutely loved it. There were some really great restaurants that overlooked the ocean and just kind of relaxed as we prepared for our next big journey. The next big journey was another 6 hours in the car. We were going to be driving to the Pemex station in Los Mochis. And when we first started driving, it was great for the first 4 to 5 hours. That last hour, the road was really rough. There was actually no shoulder, and there were cars going 2 lanes going both ways. It was a very, very tight road to be on. In Los Mochis, we ended up staying at the Pemex station at kilometer marker 199. And again, for any details, I have a lot of the GPS locations and such like that on the summary documents as well for you. From Los Mochis, we simply just spent the night, and it was another 6-hour drive down to Mazatlan. And all I can tell you is make sure your truck's ready or your trailer and you have lots of food, because 6 hours is a long time in the car. So be sure to have plenty to do, audiobooks or something. All right, from the Pemex station in Los Mochis, you have a beautiful drive to the Mazatlan area. Now there is the south side where we stayed, which is Isla De La Piedra, and we were just a ferry ride away from the Mazatlan town. And when I say ferry ride, it took 5 to 7 minutes max. They go all the time, every 5 to 10 minutes. So it's kind of fun to just hop over on a boat and be in the city. As well, if you'd like to go more on the north side where there's a lot of RV parks, you're just a little bit further away from the Mazatlan city. But there's plenty of pulmonías around, and they will help you get to and fro where you need to go. They're like the taxi of Mazatlan. The other thing I highly recommend is filling up at those Pemex gas stations as often as you can, because there are times, for instance, when we were pulling into Mazatlan, we had about an hour to go and we almost ran out of gas. So it just doesn't hurt to keep your gas tank topped up, because sometimes the gas stations are few and far between. From from Mazatlan all the way down to Tepic, eventually to La Penita or Lo de Marcos. The drive was beautiful. You do end up going up quite a steep mountain in the Tepic area. That was a little, that mountain was no joke. You know, coming down it and the grade and the twists and the turns, there's not much of a shoulder. You just need to go slow. And you need to make sure that you have your truck is ready to pull, or your trailer or your motorhome is efficient and topped up, because it is a steep climb, and so you don't want to overheat or have any problems. Once in the Tepic area, we ended up taking Highway 200. So we went off of our first toll road and we dropped down into the La Penita, Lo de Marcos area by the beach. And again, when you pull up to your RV park, it's best to actually not pull in. Just pull up outside before you try to make that turn, because sometimes there are awnings or roofs nearby that you can't make that turn, or there's cars and they're in the way. So it's best to just pull up. Mexicans are very patient people, and you'll have no problem just getting somebody to move their car or help assist you. In Lo de Marcos, we decided to go ahead and stay at the beautiful Tlaquepaque RV and Villas. We are very pleased with our stay, and we can't rave enough about Lo de Marcos. So there you have it. We're in beautiful Mexico now. If I were to do it all over again, the first thing I would do is stop worrying so much. I just had to get organized. Once I got organized, I felt better. Once I crossed the border, I felt better. Once I realized and trusted all the people on Facebook who told me you don't need to caravan, just go very slow. And we did. Then I felt better too. Slowly and surely, as we made our way further and further south into Mexico, the more confident we got about it. I would trust and take everybody's advice to heart, because these people that come down to Mexico every year and have been doing it for 10 to 15 years, they know what they're doing. You meet them and they all want to help. Just like me, I'm here to help you, and I just want to make your process a little bit simpler so that you can get down to Mexico and have the time of your life RVing all over Mexico.